four-time Miss Olympia Jay Cutler. Welcome to my channel, Jay Cutler TV, and make sure to stay in tune with the newest and updated videos. Subscribe below, guys. Thank you so much for following along.
So we're back with a little late, on the late freight this week for B-Belt, but we're here. So what do we got going? We got a special guest today.
Yeah, I got a special guest, got Mark Durando, and I'm going to try to speak up because we've got some loud music here at Gold's.
Yeah.
Mark is currently 16 weeks out of the Excalibur, where we're looking to do some serious damage. And of course, he's repping the new Team Merlin tank top and the Team Merlin hat. Anyway, today he's here to film. I had mentioned that Kim Bridges had asked a question about squatting and the things that people do wrong with squatting and how to correct it to get the most out of the movement. I was going to have her do it, but she's not going to be here for a couple of weeks, so we got Mark here, so I'm going to have Mark show the wrong way and the right way to do 3 different mistakes and corrections on squats so that you guys can get the most out of your squats, whether you're looking to build some quads or looking to build the rear end.
Mistake that people often make when they squat, and this is seen probably the most often in gyms everywhere, and that is only going down about halfway. People usually do this because they're trying to put too much weight on and they're not getting the proper depth, which really, to tell you the truth, is not really activating much of the quads, and you're not getting the most out of the movement. So what you want to do is you want to do the proper range of motion, which you could see him doing now, which is down to about thighs parallel to the ground. Some people can go a little bit below parallel, but that's as low as I would go when looking to work the quads maximally. So use less weight and get a full range of motion on squats, and that's how you will build big thighs, not by doing half reps with big weights. So here's the second mistake that people make on squats. When they squat down, they lean the torso too far forward. And what this is doing is putting a tremendous amount of stress and torque on the lower back, and it's working more lower back than it is quads, forcing you to do almost like a barbell good morning, and that's not what you want to do while doing squats. Not only can you get injured, but of course you're also not going to work the thighs properly. So what I'm going to have Mark do now is show you the proper form, how to hold the torso. He's going to keep a slight arch in the lower back. He's going to lead with the quads on the way down. His rear end is going to go back and behind him. The bar is held about midway up on the traps, and he's keeping his face straight forward. So he's making sure that if he put his face, leaned it too far forward, like bent the neck forward, then he'd start moving into that good morning type motion. But by keeping his eyes straight ahead, he keeps the torso upright and puts the maximum amount of stress on the quads and the glutes without hurting the lower back. And that's the proper depth and the proper way to position yourself while doing squats. Okay guys, so here is the next mistake that people often make on squats. When they go down to the floor, they start to rise up on the balls of their feet. Now either this is a mistake, or it also could be due to having not very good flexibility in the hamstrings and the Achilles tendon. So if you have this problem, if you're trying very, very hard not to do this, but it keeps happening, what you can do is what Mark's going to show you right now. He's going to move back and is going to put his heels up on 10-pound plates. This will allow him to keep his feet flat to the ground. With that slight rise under the heel, he's not going to be lifting up. And this way he's going to be able to put full tension on the quads without possibly falling forward or injuring himself in any way. And this is perfectly okay to do if you don't have the flexibility. And this will definitely stimulate the quads to a very, very great degree and keep you from injuring yourself, like I said, falling forward or pulling any muscles. Okay guys, now on B-Belt by Broser, I want to go over rep tempo again because I was asked about this by somebody doing the All Max Lean and Mean Challenge. And rep tempo is always written out with either 3 or 4 numbers. The first number represents how slow or how fast you do the negative portion of the rep or the eccentric portion. The second number reflects seconds at the midpoint or the stretch of the movement. The third number is the positive or the concentric portion, and if there is a fourth number, that would be how many seconds you do or do not hold at the contraction of the movement. Now what we're going to do here is a 3-1-1 seated military press on the Smith, which I'm going to have Mark demonstrate now. Now with a 3-1-1, he's going to come down in 1, 2, 3 seconds, hold for 1 second at the bottom and 1 second to the top. So that's where we get the 3-1-1. The negative is in 3 seconds. The pause at stretch is 1 second. The push to the top is in 1 second. Now we're not going to have a fourth number because there really is no peak contraction at the top of the movement. So basically just go to the top, and as soon as you're ready, start your 3-second descent. And that is a 3-1-1 tempo. Okay guys, we are continuing our discussion about rep tempos. Now, again, when you see rep tempos written down, they're always represented by the negative first, then the midpoint or stretch, the positive, and then the contraction if there's a fourth number. On the first movement we demonstrated, the negative portion of the rep actually is what started the rep out. Here, we're actually starting with the positive portion of the rep. That does not mean that the numbers are written any different. It just means that you have to change the order in your head about how you're gonna do it. So what we're gonna do here, I'm not gonna have Mark start yet, but first let me just say, we're gonna do a 3-0-1-1 tempo. Now remember, the 3 is the negative. He's not starting off with that 3. He's starting off with the 1. So he's gonna do a positive rep in 1 second, because he's starting at the bottom. He's gonna do a 1 second contraction at the top. Then he's gonna lower in 3 seconds, and that without hesitation, he's gonna start the next rep. So here he goes. Here's 1 second to the top, holding for 1 second, 3 seconds on the way down. Right back to the top in 1 second, holding, squeezing for a second, 3 seconds on the way down. So again, you have to remember that tempo is always written out the same way, but not every exercise starts out with a negative rep. Some start out with a positive rep. So you just have to adjust the numbers in your head and you'll be able to do it properly. So again, one more time, when the rep starts with a barbell curl, he starts from the bottom. That's a positive rep in 1 second, holding for 1 second, lowering in 3 seconds, and then 0 seconds at the bottom. And that's how you do rep tempo on a barbell curl.
All right, Biggie, what are we talking on the Ask Merlin this week?
First of all, I'd like to welcome everybody to the posing room at Gold's Gym, the famous posing room where pretty much every famous bodybuilder has posed in. Yeah, so I had posted a picture, actually, believe it or not, it was yesterday, on a Throwback Thursday, of my client Mark Durando, who actually did the exercises today on the do's and don'ts. And somebody said to me, because the transformation was so spectacular, almost unbelievable, that people said, you know, the main question I was getting in different forms was, what's the key to making a transformation like that? What is Mark doing, you know, that has allowed him to radically change so much in a relatively short period of time? And I have to say that more than anything, you know, it's his dedication, it's his discipline, and it's his passion for improvement that has done it. Because while I am able to always give people the tools they need to make incredible changes, such as, you know, the various exercise programs and the new movements, and, you know, all the things that I do with the unique tempos and that stuff, as well as my dieting practices, proper supplementation, and all of these things, if you don't put it into practice every single day, your results will still be subpar. And Mark is the kind of person who, it's sort of like that model client who every time he does a contest, it's almost like I have to force him to even do a cheat meal after the contest, because he's so ready to go right back into training for the next show, whether it be 2 weeks away or whether it be 2 months away or the following year. He's always got his mind on improving for the next show. And while that type of, you know, dedication is rare, it is the kind of dedication and discipline that you need to make these kinds of improvements. You know, unless you're just completely genetically gifted, and there are some of those people in the world, but they're so few and far between. You know, you need to, you know, be dedicated to your improvement year round. There's no such thing as off season. I really hate the term off season. I only use it sometimes because it just naturally flows out of my mouth, but I like to call it progress season, because all of the progress for the following show or the following summer or the following photo shoot or whatever it is always comes in the period of time where you're able to eat a little bit more, where you don't have to do as much cardio, where you have a little bit more energy to train and to gain, but still you're sticking to basically the same plan that you did pre-contest or pre-photo shoot, but you're eating more. You're not having tons of junk meals. You're not missing meals. You're not missing training sessions. You're training just as hard, if not harder. You're still doing some cardio to make sure the body fat's under control. And these are the things that really it takes to make such huge improvements. And before somebody yells drugs, that is simply not the case, because I can tell you from experience that most of the people that I work with use far less than most other people, and they usually use less than they did before they started working with me. And it's not about drugs, because there are a million guys in this world who use drugs and don't make tremendous improvements. The real improvements, yes, of course they work, and of course they are a tool used in competitive bodybuilding, competitive physique competition, but they don't make or break you. What makes or break you is your diet, your training, and your rest every single day. And that is how Mark made that tremendous transformation. And I try to tell everybody this, that it's not just up to me. I will give them, I'm a GPS system, so if you program into me where you want to go, I will give you the fastest direction to get there. That's my job. But I do not stand over. Most of my clients are online. They live in other states, they live in other countries, and I have to count on them to put into action what I give them. So it's up to you guys to make that progress. So I really just wanted to address that today. Congratulate Mark on going from basically a 220-pound power lifter blob to a kid that literally 3 years later was already competing at the NPC USA and doing damage there, winning shows, placing in top 5 in every show that he does, and making tremendous improvements. And it's not just Mark, you could do it too. You just have to train smart, eat smart, and do it every single day and be dedicated to it, and that's how you make the progress.